Inspired action. Ooh, this is going to be so much fun. I was like, what am I going to talk about in my next video? And I want to talk about inspired action because that is such a big topic that people have made such a big deal about. That's what I should say. It's not a big topic. It's a lot of people have made a big deal out of that word. And inspired action is not something that you actually do. It's not something that you force. It's not something that you even realize you're doing. So when you question if it is, it isn't. Or you can say it is, actually, because you'll never know what's inspired. You'll never know. You'll never know why you're doing things, because the actions that you're doing is never in charge. It's what you've chosen. It's actually causing you to move, to think, to breathe, to be, and you don't even know it. And it's funny because when I'm just moving through my day, like right now, I just, my life is a life of ease. Like I don't have like a job. I don't report to anybody. I make content. I live my life out of pure choice. And like right now, like my life is that's what I've chosen, that I live an effortless, abundant life. And sometimes I'm just like, I want to go get bread. Like, this is going to sound weird, but there was a time where I would just go buy bread at the grocery store, right? Just regular, whatever bread. And now I can't eat another bread other than sourdough bread from a specific place. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see it. It's called Quality Bread. It's here in Chicago. And here's the goods. Ooh, yeah. This is the bread, sourdough bread. And I went to La Colombe Coffee to get a coffee and some beans. But I guess why I'm showing this is because it's like I didn't think about it. It just, I got led here, but it's like old me would have thought, oh my gosh, she's so bougie. She can only have sourdough bread from this one bakery in Chicago, which, by the way, has been voted the best bread in Chicago. Just saying. Anyway, I'm a California girl, so I can only eat real good sourdough bread, not the shit they sell at the grocery store. But an old version of me, that's all she would buy because that's all she thought she could afford. And now I literally drive out of my way to come buy this bread because it's so good and because it's all I know to eat. And even in the winter, I will pay a $10 delivery fee just to have this bread delivered to my house. I'm not saying that to toot my horn. I'm saying that these are inspired. These are just things that I do. I don't question, oh my God, that's a lot of money. I don't question it. It's like I'm just going through the motions of doing it because it pleases me. I'm not trying, I'm not analyzing, I'm not saying, should I drive, should I have it delivered, but it's cheaper over here. It's like someone that is truly abundant doesn't even have thoughts like that. They're just moving through the world. And I know a lot of you will comment like, well, that's nice if you have the money. I get it. That's how I used to think too, until I started really just trusting my choice, trusting that I know that knowing is the real me. The one that's questioning and worried, she's just along for the ride. So inspiration is natural, and I'm going to take you along with me this week on Inspired Action. A lot of you think inspired action means doing something. walking, talking, opening up investments, eating, exercising, whatever. And yes, while those things can be inspired action, what I'm doing right now is also inspired action. And to many of you, it feels like it's doing nothing. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm in my jammies still, having my first cup of coffee. That should tell you that I woke up pretty late, and I have been for several days. The old me would have judged the shit out of myself for this and thought something's wrong with me. I must have something wrong. There must be depression, or there must be sadness, or it must be my nervous system dysregulated, and then go try to fix it. Then you go try to fix it. Inspired action doesn't always look like the way you think it is. That's why trying to figure it out makes no sense, because you don't know. Like, I question things sometimes. Yeah, I'm just like, is it? What the hell am I doing? What is this? I'm like, girl. And then the judgment comes. Oof, you don't try to fix yourself, the judgment comes. Girl, you got to be doing something. You can't be just laying around here doing nothing. The thing is like, wherever you are, if whatever you're doing, that's what you're being called to do. It's to stop trying to get out of where you are. Wherever you are is exactly where you were always supposed to be. And some people call it you're being forced to hit a bottom, and everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. There's no, oh, well, this coach or this teacher or this person, they didn't have to do all that. You're right, they didn't. Because they didn't have your beliefs. They didn't have your belief systems. And the reason why it feels like some people click faster or get things faster is because they're not arguing with what they want. They're not arguing against it. They're not laying there trying to figure it out and trying to understand themselves. Is, why am I acting this way? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not seeing things differently? They're not doing all that. They're just accepting it. Okay, cool. I'm God. I get what I want. Okay, cool. Done. Your desire, you wanting it, is the receipt. A lot of you are like, show me the receipts. That's your receipt. If you want it, that means you have it. You got it. It's yours. Not in the future. That means you have it. And the inspired action, whatever it is, it is. So whatever you're doing, that's it. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It means lean into who you are at this moment. That's inspired. That's inspired action. Lean into who you're being this moment, knowing that you and that power within you are the only two having a discussion here.
What are you going to do about it? Probably something stupid.
Inspired action isn't what it's taught, isn't what people think it is. It's inspired action is really invisible, and that's what is probably the most annoying thing about it. It's the non-tangible. It's spirit. Inspired action is spirit. It's not even you being aware that you're doing anything. Will you be aware that you're doing something? Yes, after you're doing it. So trying to figure it out, or trying to see it in hindsight, or trying to figure out, was that what I just did, inspired action? The answer is no, right? Because anytime it feels inspired action, it feels like you're trying, or you're doing it, or you feel like you have to do it. This is the logical next step that you got to go take. You have to go make it happen, right? That's still you manipulating and controlling and trying to force the hand of God. The only reason you try to figure it out is because you're freaking out and you think that you're not going to get what you want. So before you ask a question like, is this inspired action? How do I know what's inspired action? Here's what I want you to ask yourself. Go ahead and ask that question in that moment to yourself, not to anyone else. to yourself is then say, why do I need to know the answer to that question? Because when you answer that question, you'll no longer need to have an answer to your original question of, is this inspired action? Because you're going to hear yourself say something like, because I want to make sure I'm doing it right, because it's taken so long, blah, blah. You're going to have all these different responses that you're going to come up with naturally. And then you're going to be like, oh, still trying to control this. I still don't believe that what I chose was all I needed to do. I still am trying to figure out how it's going to happen. You're going to hear your own rebellious answer. My point is, stop arguing with everything in your reality. Stop negotiating and arguing with your thoughts. Stop negotiating with your feelings and your ups and downs, right? Those things are keeping you trapped and stuck. And inspired action is just another terminology that was oversaturated in the manifesting community. And there's teachers out there that are saying you're going to have to take action. You have to take action. First of all, I don't have to do shit. I don't have to earn shit. I don't have to do anything. It's already mine. And I, the little I, she's only going to do what Source moves me to do. Source is the one moving me to do anything. I don't even have to worry about action. I don't have to accept that there's action to be taken. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to be moved. And trying to figure that out and control it and put it in a box, in a category, or label it as such, right? You're still controlling and manipulating how. And the thing is that some of you will get results in doing it, and then you'll attribute it to your action. You'll attribute it to labeling, categorizing, efforting, and making that condition for yourself. So be it. Good. Do it. When you truly have accepted that little you doesn't do anything, that little you is just an expression, a vehicle to Source, you understand what I'm talking about, that it's not you that is doing anything. So your job is to lean back and be, like I said in another video a long time ago, be like a wet noodle. You're not having to figure out how to take action. You're not here to try to figure out what is inspired action, what is action. You're the inspiration that causes actions. I also wanted to add in that many of you may have seen a short that I did. It was a sponsored ad for a meal prep food company, and I didn't reach out to them. And I remember I thought a couple of times like, oh, that'd be cool if I had sponsors or collaboration. I don't even know what to call them. Do you see? It's like, that's how, in it that I am. But I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. But I thought, but I'd only want to do it with companies that I literally genuinely would buy from or enjoy, and that just fit me, right? Not just to do it, not to do it just to do it, but just like, yeah, that's like totally cool. I remember thinking this at the time. I'm like, there's just no freaking way. It's like, that's only done for like 19-year-olds or whatever. And I thought, I'm like, I don't even know if my channel's big enough for that, or I'm like, whatever. It's like, I was gonna put it out there, and maybe in the future or whatever, I'm like, it would be cool. But I didn't do nothing for it. Like if like someone were to go into my analytics, they'd see like I don't reach out to anyone. Yet I started getting emails like, I don't know, a month ago or so. Like I get a lot of emails of people wanting me to wear their jewelry or try some walking pad out or whatever. It's just like all over the place. It's just random shit. And I was like, no. I'm like, no. Like, first of all, I thought that it was all spam. I thought everybody gets these. So I just deleted them. Like half the time I wasn't even reading them. And I remember showing a couple to my son, and he's just like, no, he's like, that's spam or whatever. And then I was like, okay. So then ever since he said that, I just started deleting them. I'm just like, yeah, this isn't, real. And it looked like fishy or whatever. And then one day I was out to lunch with him, and I said, oh, I got another one. And I said, look, and I just felt inspired to show him after he'd already told me, like, a lot of these are just, sketchy. And I just felt like showing him this one, and I showed it to him, and his eyes booked out of his head. He's like, Mom, this is legit. This is a good one. And then I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I wonder how many other ones I've deleted. And then he was just like, stop deleting them. And I'm like, but you told me they were sketchy. And he was just like, no, I didn't. Do you see how he no longer thinks of that? But I was holding on to that. That's what was inspiring me to delete them, because I just assumed what he was saying was true. And so I showed it to him, and then he was just like, he would not shut up about it. He was just like, oh my God, some of my favorite YouTubers, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, everybody knows who this is. And I'm just like, I personally had never heard of them. And so then he was just like, he's like, give me your computer. And then he's like, do you want to do it? And I said, let me think about it for a day and see if this is something that I feel is aligned with me. So I didn't think about it. I just allowed myself to sit with it. And then I thought, yeah, it totally does, and then I remember that night thinking, I remember declaring I live a life of luxury. And then I thought, what are the things that I would do if I were living that luxurious lifestyle right now? And I thought, one of them, I would have a chef. And I remember reaching out to a couple of chefs and saying, how much would it cost to have you come and cook dinners for me, at my place? And I reached out, I made a post in a group, and then a few chefs reached out and they quoted me prices, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But then I went on vacations, and I went on several trips, and I thought about it, but I was just like, I'm just, not around right now for that. So that thought and also combined with, it would be cool to have sponsors, right? Or, not sponsors, I don't even know what you call them, whatever, collaborations or whatever. And then I get this email, and then my son's just like, he's like, yeah, do it. And I was like, I had to think about it by myself though. And then I realized when I remembered that I thought, I would love to have chef curated meals for me. And I was like, it's not completely exactly what I had imagined, but I was just like, this is literally like the mirror of what I wanted though. It doesn't, just because I accept it doesn't mean it's over, right? It's just like, yeah. So I said, I'm not saying no to this. I'm saying yes to this. So for me, it was more about what I had manifested. And not so much about the thing, but more about what I had declared I am. So I said yes. And so that's the story behind that whole manifestation, right? You hear all the inspired actions that I took, all of them in detail. I shared them with you. They weren't thought over. I didn't think about them. I didn't overthink them. I just allowed these things to happen, and I could easily say no. This is not what I wanted, but I chose to say yes, because it was just like it was multiple manifestations being fed into this. So I wanted to share that story too, because there's you're always the mirror's always showing you reflections of what you desire. And will you say yes to them? That is up to you.